America, the land of dreams, skyscrapers, and ambition. A nation built on the promise that if you work hard, you'll succeed. But hidden beneath the towering high-rises and billion-dollar tech startups is another America, one far removed from red carpets and riches. It's an America of broken sidewalks, makeshift tents, soup kitchen lines, and overworked people trapped in cycles of poverty. It's the side of America people often overlook, sometimes by accident, but often by choice. This is the America of the poor, the homeless, the struggling, the people who live one unexpected bill away from losing everything, the people who sleep in their cars or under bridges while million-dollar homes loom just blocks away. Poverty in the United States is complex. It's not always visible. It doesn't always wear torn clothes or beg on the street. It might look like a clean-shirted man delivering your food, unaware to you that he lives out of a locker at a 24-hour gym, or a school teacher who grades papers at night in a motel because rent became too expensive, or a college student who skips meals for days just to pay for books. In America, poverty doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. Over 37 million people in the U.S. officially live below the poverty line. That number grows when you count those hovering just above it, working full-time, sometimes multiple jobs, but still unable to meet their basic needs. Then there are the over 500,000 people who are homeless on any given night. Some of them are visible, standing at intersections with cardboard signs, sleeping on park benches, pushing carts full of everything they own. Others are hidden, sleeping in their cars, crashing on friends' couches, or squeezing into overcrowded shelters. Homelessness doesn't always look like what you imagine. It could be a mother with 2 children staying in a shelter, or a man with a full-time job who showers at a truck stop before heading to work. In cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Seattle, and Washington, D.C., homelessness has reached crisis levels. Tent encampments stretch along highways and sidewalks. Some neighborhoods are filled with rows of makeshift homes constructed from tarps, wood, and whatever else people can find. And these communities aren't just in urban areas anymore. They've spread to suburbs, rural towns, even forests and deserts. You'll find people living in RVs parked along city streets, families sleeping in public parks, or individuals building encampments on the outskirts of town to avoid the constant harassment or criminalization that comes with being visibly homeless. Living on the streets isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Homeless people face the threat of violence, theft, harassment from the public, and constant displacement from authorities. Cities frequently conduct what they call sweeps, raids on tent encampments where belongings are thrown away and people are forced to move with nowhere else to go. Imagine losing your only blankets, medications, or family photos overnight, just because someone in a government office decided your existence made the area unpleasant. Homelessness is treated more like a crime than a crisis. And the most tragic part? Most people who experience homelessness don't choose it. It's not the result of laziness. It's the outcome of sky-high housing costs, job insecurity, medical bills, mental health challenges, domestic violence, and a welfare system that often fails the people who need it most. There's a common myth that the poor and homeless are just lazy, that they need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. But how do you pull yourself up when you don't even have boots? Consider this. The average full-time minimum wage worker in America cannot afford a 2-bedroom apartment in any state. Rents have skyrocketed across the country, especially in major cities. At the same time, wages have barely budged. Healthcare is expensive. Childcare is unaffordable. One trip to the emergency room can set a family back thousands of dollars. And once someone becomes homeless, the path back to stability becomes increasingly steep. You can't get a job without an address. You can't get government assistance without documents. You can't save money if you have no safe place to keep it. You can't sleep well, eat properly, or focus on the future when your entire day revolves around survival. Many of the poor in America are working. They are cashiers, delivery drivers, janitors, home health aides, warehouse workers, teachers, and service staff. They serve your food, stock your shelves, clean your offices, and then sleep in cars, shelters, or public restrooms because they can't afford a place to live. These are the people society relies on, but rarely rewards. They live paycheck to paycheck, one crisis away from catastrophe. And for many, that crisis comes fast. Sudden illness, an eviction, a car breaking down. It doesn't take much to tumble into poverty, but climbing back out, that's the hard part. Families make up a growing portion of the homeless population. It's not uncommon for parents and children to be living in shelters or cramped motel rooms. Children experiencing homelessness face unique and heartbreaking challenges: missed school days, hunger, frequent moves, and emotional trauma. They often lack access to books, internet, or even quiet places to study. Their education suffers, their mental health suffers, and their futures are often shaped by instability before they even have a chance to choose their path. This cycle of poverty starts early and is incredibly hard to break. Then there are the elderly, many of whom have worked their entire lives, only to find themselves struggling in retirement. Social Security isn't always enough. Rising rents, healthcare costs, and limited mobility can push aging Americans into poverty or homelessness. Many seniors are found sleeping in shelters or living in cars, often too embarrassed to ask for help. Some fall through the cracks entirely, unseen, unheard, and unloved. It's a tragic end for people who built the country with their labor. Mental illness is another major factor. Many homeless individuals suffer from untreated or poorly managed mental health conditions: depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, PTSD. For decades, mental health services have been underfunded and inaccessible for the poor. The closure of psychiatric hospitals in the 1980s led to a massive wave of homelessness, and the system never recovered. Today, many people with mental illnesses end up on the streets not because they want to be there, but because there's simply nowhere else to go. They fall between the cracks of housing programs, welfare systems, and healthcare institutions. Their conditions worsen. They become easy targets for crime, or they cycle in and out of jail for minor infractions, never truly getting the help they need. Addiction also plays a role, but addiction is often a symptom, not the root cause. Many people turn to drugs or alcohol to cope with trauma, pain, or despair. Homelessness breeds hopelessness, and addiction can feel like the only escape. Yet instead of offering support, society often punishes these individuals through arrests, incarceration, or stigma. Very few communities offer long-term rehabilitation that is free, accessible, and rooted in compassion. The result? A cycle that repeats endlessly: addiction, arrest, release, relapse, repeat. Despite all this, homeless people continue to show immense strength. They build makeshift communities, share food, protect one another, and offer companionship in the face of extreme hardship. In the absence of help from the system, they help each other. Some even find ways to work, earn small amounts of money, or volunteer in local programs. They are not helpless. They are resourceful. But even resourcefulness has its limits when the odds are so heavily stacked against you. Shelters, though intended to help, are often overwhelmed and under-resourced. In many cities, there are more homeless people than shelter beds. Some shelters have strict rules, curfews, or unsafe conditions. Others turn people away for being LGBTQ+, for having children, or for having substance use disorders. The lack of safe, accessible, and supportive temporary housing is a major barrier to getting off the streets. And for some, the shelter feels more dangerous than the sidewalk. Violence, theft, and abuse are all too common inside underfunded facilities. Government programs exist, but they are fragmented, complex, and often filled with red tape. People are required to fill out stacks of paperwork, attend multiple appointments, and provide documentation they may not have, like birth certificates or proof of address. For people trying to survive day to day, navigating these systems can feel impossible. Some give up, others are denied, The help is there, technically, but it is not designed to meet people where they are. It's designed to work for those who already have some stability. Meanwhile, the divide between rich and poor continues to grow. In the same cities where people live on sidewalks, luxury condos sit half-empty. Billion-dollar corporations receive tax breaks while shelters run out of blankets. The wealthy debate poverty in boardrooms but rarely visit the neighborhoods most affected. We live in a society where excess and scarcity exist side by side, and that contradiction defines much of the American reality today. But there is hope. Across the country, non-profits, religious organizations, and grassroots groups are stepping in where the system fails. Volunteers distribute food, build tiny homes, offer mobile showers, provide legal aid, or simply listen. These acts of compassion can mean the difference between despair and survival. Still, charity cannot replace justice. Kindness is essential, but systemic change is what truly matters. Affordable housing is the cornerstone of the solution. We must build more of it, not just for the poor, but for everyone. We need rent control, eviction protections, and programs that help people stay housed rather than punishing them for being poor. Universal health care, living wages, expanded mental health services, and addiction treatment must be part of the conversation. But none of this can happen without political will, without the public demanding action, and without changing the way we think about poverty itself. Poor people are not lazy. They are not broken. They are not a problem to be solved. They are human beings, complex, capable, deserving of dignity and safety. Poverty is not just a financial state. It is a reflection of how a society values or devalues its people. And if we want to be a society that values justice, equality, and compassion, we must start by lifting up those who have been pushed down the hardest. America has the resources to end homelessness. It has the infrastructure, the money, the land, and the labor. What it often lacks is the empathy and urgency to act. The question is not whether we can afford to help the poor. The question is whether we can afford not to. Because every tent on the sidewalk is a reminder. Every child sleeping in a car is a consequence. Every forgotten soul in a dark alley is a reflection of us all. And until we build an America where no one is left behind, the dream remains incomplete.